All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday to you all. And folks, this is episode 28. Yo, we're almost at 30, bruh. Wicked things. Guys, so we are, as you know, we're always excited, but this guest is very special to the Good Rookies family. So Faheem, please introduce who we got.
All right. We have, say, family. I'll say like our pod family.
Yes.
Most maybe to our podcast or even the movement. Someone who's moving with us. So, it's always a pleasure to have him on. We had him on before with Anson, one of our earlier episodes, and that was fire. And it's been a while, so we're going to light it up again. From the Good Rookies podcast to the Big O podcast, we have Julian Ortiz in the building.
Julian.
Julian.
What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing tonight?
Julian, man. First of all, Julian, you're a busy man. Like, real talk, you are extremely busy. You're a father, you're a husband, you're a creator, producer. But not only that, you're also managing and helping host two other podcasts. So please tell the folks, the people that I'm listening, the other podcast that you're a part of.
Thank you, Miss Nelly J. So we have two podcasts that are currently working on right now. Real Sports, available wherever you get your podcast, is a podcast reviewing sports movies in a hopes to figure out the best sports movie ever created. It's a tough job. Someone had to do it. So we took it upon ourselves in order to make it happen. And No Instructions Needed podcast. Two friends from the West Coast. We're talking about daily things, movies, music, betting, crazy dad stories. It's a lot of fun. Three guys just sort of having a good time, talking a little, ish, if you might say.
I love the ish. Give me all the ish.
That's it, spilling the tea, whatever, all those fun things. So, we're doing big things. And then obviously the Big O podcast is alive and well.
Awesome. Right. Yeah, well, we're fans of your podcast. And folks, if you haven't locked into Julian Ortiz, get familiar, okay? We're gonna have all the links to all his podcasts, what he's up to. Check it out, subscribe, like, it's a no-brainer, period.
That's right. Actually, real quick, Julian, about the Big O podcast, just off the top of your head, give me your top three guests that you've had on there, because you've had some big names on there.
Oh man, that's tough because now you're making me like rank my own.
Exactly. That ain't right. Okay, how about give us one or two episodes that you spoke with someone that I guess you learned the most or it was the most impactful, because all your guests were amazing. They're all fantastic, right? Kind of like, let's say, set off the bat. But which guest do you think you learned the most from?
That's a great question. I would say early on, I had two friends who helped sell my house. Learning more about the real estate market and what was currently going on in the beginning of the pandemic was really informative as someone who was looking to buy a house. So, the Canadian Toronto market for housing is one of the only businesses that has thrived during the pandemic. And so getting to take a part and advantage of that was great. And then Donovan Bailey, Canadian icon, great conversation. He is confident like no one's business, and I love that because that's like the most anti-Canadian thing, but he put Canada on a map. And so shout out to the icon Donovan Bailey.
That's awesome. Awesome. And to kind of jump to other icons in the sports world, this week we all heard some tragic news about Tiger Woods. For those who don't know, I think it was early Tuesday morning. He actually was driving in LA in his SUV, crossed the median and veered across two lanes of road before hitting a curb. He hit a tree and landed on his side in the brush. So this happened on Tuesday. He had serious injuries to his leg. He required a rod, screws, pins, all that, and he's still recovering from it, and the surgeons were trying to save his leg as well from amputation. So there's a lot going on, and I'm sure a lot more will come out. But obviously thoughts and prayers to Tiger Woods, his family. But just out of curiosity, for you guys, I kind of got not nauseated, but I fully had bad anxiety because we lost Kobe a year ago to a crash. And then, we had, and then now Tiger Woods, I was like, I heard Tiger was in a crash and I just kind of panicked. So just, what were you guys' thoughts, I guess, when you heard of this crash and this incident with Tiger Woods?
So when I seen it, I thought it was definitely, at first sight, it looked really bad. But as time went, after a few hours, they kind of said, okay, you know what, it's not life threatening, so from the time I heard that, then I felt, a lot better about it. I said, okay, well, you know what, it's very unfortunate, but, at least he's still here with us. Right. Yeah. And, even in regards to his career, we can, I guess, deal with that later. That's kind of where as time goes on, things are going to more evolve with it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But how about you, Julian?
For me, it was like PTSD, because the last time my phone had a message about Tiger Woods getting into a car accident, it spun a very different web from that we ever thought of Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. And especially when you see the headline, Jaws of Life needs to pry him out of the car, right. You're thinking that anytime that happens, it's terrible. And obviously he suffered some major injuries, but I think you hit it on the head right there. Last time we were hoping Tiger Woods was going to be able to come back and have some sort of career as he chased Jack Nicklaus' record for the most all-time wins. Right now, we're just hoping that he can get healthy and live the rest of his life with his kids. If he never plays golf again, I think everyone in the world will be okay. But, shout out to Tiger Woods. Hopefully he gets the rest he needs, make a full recovery, because what fun is having kids if you can't enjoy your life with them?
Bingo. Awesome.
True
so guys,
words.
Thoughts and prayers to Tiger Woods, his family, and just all to send positive vibes to West Coast USA. And hopefully Tiger can recover, and we wish him all the best. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. So Kendrick Perkins. So one thing I give Kendrick Perkins is he's consistent. He's controversial, and he's okay with it. So one thing, he made a comparison. He tweeted, he felt that Pascal Siakam's skill set is better than Giannis's.
Yes, he says Siakam is more skilled than Giannis. That was his tweet. And then he said something about like,
don't at me.
Don't at me. Like, but everyone added him anyway. but he said don't at me at the end.
Right. Julian, I'll let you go first with this because this could get lengthy.
Here's the thing. I don't think he's wrong. And I think he sort of prefaced his comments when he talked about skills. He didn't talk about who the greater player was. And I always draw a comparison to my guy, Tom Brady. Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, all more skilled quarterbacks than Tom Brady. Statistics, look it up. It is very true. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever play. So he may not be the most skilled, but he's going to find a way to cement the legacy. And what Giannis has is a skill set that a physicality and athleticism that nobody else has, that nobody else can really rival. He's not the most skilled. He uses size and speed and athleticism to be a great basketball player. Now, if he's going to be a top 5 basketball player of all time, probably not. But Siakam, with his handle, with his shooting, he gets way more respect on the court from range than someone like Giannis does, who's just trying to, make you scared a little bit. But inside the paint, there is none greater than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh. So I want to get back off what Julian said, because I think a lot of people, if we look at Twitter, people were upset, like they were mad, and the point that people are forgetting is that he said skilled, not better, not a better. Remember, guys, Giannis has won MVPs. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, we're not denying that he's a good player, but when it comes to skills, we've seen Giannis not perform in the playoffs. He chokes in the playoffs, and even though his team, yes, might blame his team for it, but the reason why Tom Brady is so great is because he can uplift his team with him, right? Tom Brady is great because he makes everyone around him better. And that's why he's above Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. Those guys were great quarterbacks, but they weren't really good leadership. Like their leadership wasn't as on par as Tom Brady. So I just feel like what he said wasn't wrong. But I think a lot of people, of course, who don't look at Raptor, remember, Raptor players don't get love anyway. So a casual fan probably watch maybe 1 or 2 Raptor games a year and then playoffs if they have to. So people are commenting, don't really watch the Raptors. So they're commenting based off of what they see, which is 1 or 2 games. So the ignorance is bliss in this aspect. So I don't think he's wrong, but I can see why some people were upset because they probably don't know any better. So yeah, that's my comment on that.
I think we're dealing with, it's like both of them, okay, in regards to skills, Siakam
dribbling
goes,
and
Siakam, he goes by like P skills, as the other spicy P or whatever little nickname he has. But to me, they're very much, it's so close. Giannis, he can actually, now that I think about it, it's like this. Giannis can't shoot the 3. We know this. Siakam, they're both not good 3-point shooters, but Siakam, I'm gonna go with is a little bit better than Giannis from range, right? But where Giannis misses out in regards to the shooting and even the mid range from that, I think he makes up for in regards to his ability to pass. I think Siakam can pass the ball, but Giannis, for his size, like Jason Kidd had him playing point guard for a reason when he started. Like he's been in the skills competition before. Like Giannis, he can do a lot. So when it comes down to, I can't say that Perkins is wrong. It's definitely a great to get like a teaser to get people excited, but I'm still torn to think who is more skill excited. We're dealing with 2 people who, to me, aren't exactly the most skilled players.
Yeah, they're both kind of equal in your eye. It's funny because if you look at their like career, right, 8-year versus 5-year career, Siakam started playing basketball when he was 16, 17, like in a teenage year. Giannis as well. Like, so they're very similar backgrounds, similar experiences. But I mean, if Siakam was 8-year in the NBA, I don't know. Like, I feel like in 8 years, I can compare them better, but he's only been 5 years and he still has a lot to learn. Like Siakam is still in the learning phase in his basketball career. I don't think he's peaked yet. I know we thought he might have peaked last year or 2019 career, but I think it's more to him that we haven't seen. And I know people can be like, no, Janelle, he's done, Nelly. But I think there's more to Siakam that we'll see in the next couple of years. I really do believe that he's going to evolve in a way. So, but I mean, Giannis is a better player overall. Siakam, I feel like because of his shooting ability, and it is basketball, shooting is important. I will have to give it up for more skill to Siakam at this time. But hopefully Giannis can prove us wrong, hopefully, and become a better shooter in the future.
Yeah, Siakam is a real threat at the 3-point line, whereas you're going to let Giannis beat you from the 3-point line. The difference is you're not going to leave any of those guys unguarded. And to be honest, if Giannis isn't, as tall as he is, as long as he is, and how fast as he is, what are his skills as a basketball player? It's great that he can take 2 steps from the 3-point line and make it to the rim, but those aren't skills. That's athleticism. That is God-given size and ability. That's not something that you can work on. That's not your craft. Maybe you can work on footwork, but that's not really the skills that Kendrick Perkins is talking about.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins is talking about on a team, Pascal Siakam can do more to uplift you, and Giannis has a limited skill set. Now, we can't just look at accolades like championships, because Patrick McCaw's got like 3 championships and he ain't going down as the greatest player of all time. He may not even make the Hall of Fame. And so Spicy P, I think, is a skilled basketball player when it comes to the different tools on the floor, where he doesn't have to be the biggest guy. He can be smaller and undersized and make it work. Where with Giannis, he's got great passing ability, but wouldn't you be a great passer if you were 6 feet taller than anybody else and playing among the trees while everyone's on the ground? That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
That's fair. I really have no arguments for that. You're right. Like, but that's I rate Perkins because he really brought some to the table. That one, it's good that now people are actually giving a little Siakam a little bit more like notoriety and respect. Other than what Shaq said. See what Shaq said about he didn't know Pascal Siakam's first. He didn't know his first
full
name.
Yeah, he didn't know his full name. But listen, I'm like Shaq. I get Shaq. Shaq, bro, I get you because you know me. I forget enough names too. So I get why he forgot. I understand him.
Yeah, Uncle Perk is sometimes a little bit outrageous. For this one, I give him a pass. I don't think he's too wrong with what he was trying to get done.
Yeah, I think I'll give him a pass with this one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the NBA play-in tournament? I don't know if I'm going to give it a pass with that one, actually. I do have a problem with the NBA play-in tournament. You do? Okay. How about you,
I actually don't like it at all. I'm not even sure why they added it.
I think I might be on the opposite end of what you guys are saying. You guys don't like it. I'm saying 7 to 10, get it in. The West did it last year because the East wasn't really competitive enough to do it. It was sort of set. So we got to see a little bit of how it worked. I like the format. 7 plays 8. The loser of that game plays the winner of 9-10. It's kind of like a double elimination. If you're in that, that 8 spot, you get 2 opportunities to crack it. And you have to remember that this isn't about anything other than doing something new. Adam Silver has taken this idea from the Champions League in soccer to have a tournament during the season as a way to drum up, some new things. Now, obviously, he's not doing it the way that he wanted to initially. He wanted to have a mid-season tournament, but he's settling for a shortened season. They're trying to generate revenue. They're trying to generate fans again. They're trying to put them butts back into the seats. I don't mind it. Listen, it'll be interesting because when you look at the 8 through or the 7 through 10, you're looking at like Portland. You're looking at some pretty good teams that are going to be fighting to get in. It'll be entertaining.
I mean, as a fan, yes, it'll be entertaining. I'm thinking about the players, right? I feel like if I'm an AFC team, and then I have to play the best team in the league the week after. Remember, so I think it's a 3-day tournament, and they're playing playoffs the next day. So you're going to be busting your tail playing all these games for 2.5 days, and then I got to play again against the best team in my division. I just feel like those 8th seed or 17 players, those teams will not be. I think it will be hard for them to kind of recuperate in terms of health. If they get injured, it's a lot for their bodies to handle, to have to go from tournament to playoff style within a day or two. Now, if they're having like a tournament and then they had a week off and then play, cool, but it's not. It's like 3 days and then playoffs, I think the Monday or Tuesday after the fact. So I'm thinking about how quick turnaround it's going to be. And I feel like we're giving those teams a failure pass, because if I'm playing to make it and I got to play the best teams for 7 games series, that's a lot. Like in soccer, it's only 1 game, right? Like they're not playing 7-game series in soccer, but in basketball, you're playing 7-game series every round. That's too much. I'm sorry, it's too much for those guys. So that's my opinion on it.
How many games are in this season?
72.
72.
Usually it's 82. So we're only talking a difference of 10 games, right?
Yeah.
If this was a super shortened season, I'm talking like, 65 games or 60 games, I'm getting the need to allow those who just might be on the cusp to give them an opportunity. But in the past, it's always been like the last week of the NBA season, it's always been like, who's fighting for that 8th spot? And if you're a half game out, hey, too bad, so sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it's been. I just think they played enough games this year to not hand out like, the white ribbon, the participation ribbon to say, hey, hey, 10th spot, why don't you come in and join us?
Come join us for a tournament.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm not a fan. I'm sorry, Julian.
I
can
dig the
see what the NBA likes it though. The NBA is money. For them, it's money. But to me, as a player, I would be annoyed. I would not be a fan if I was playing, because I'm like, we fought for the last 8 months to make it to the playoffs, and I got to prove again to the NBA that I'm worthy in a tournament. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is about money. But from a player's perspective, let's look at it this way. It gives an opportunity for the 9th and 10th place teams to have an opportunity to earn some bonus that they may not have gotten if we just ended at the 8 seeds, right? Make the playoffs, have a chance to go and really shock the world. If you ask anybody if they want to make the playoffs or they want to finish in that 9th or 10th spot, no one wants to finish just short of it. The franchise doesn't want to finish just short of it because it means they're going to have a terrible draft pick and they're caught sort of in the middle, whether they were a buyer at the trade deadline or not. And it's going to really affect how teams look at the trade deadline, knowing that 7 through 10 gets in for an opportunity to play. And baseball did things a little bit different last year with the playoffs, where instead of having, days off in between, up until the championship series, they were playing every single day. And that was something that they weren't accustomed to doing.
That's true.
And when it comes to basketball, who knows where if you're playing an extra game or extra 2 games and the top 3 seeds are, at home, not really, playing, and they're just practicing and resting, you may have the stamina, you may have the, the heat check, part of it where you're going in with momentum, and these guys aren't. You could steal a game or 2, and that could end up being a series right there.
That's true.
So I hear that, but let me throw this to you real quick then. So the play-in tournament worked great. If we're going into like the end of season and 7 to 10, we're talking like there's like 2 games separating. You deserve to be. You're a 10th spot and you deserve to be there.
Sure.
Who's to say that that 10th spot could be like, say, 3, 4, 5 games. Like eventually over time, there's enough time in this playoffs for there to be separation between a regular 8 spot and a 10th spot. If I'm seeing a 4-game difference, I'm not like, that's where I'm thinking, you don't deserve that opportunity to get in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
So we have to remember that it's unlikely to go to 72 games for most of these teams. It's going to go to percentages because not everybody is going to play a 72-game season because we've already had games canceled due to COVID.
Right.
And so now you're having to adapt, but you can't change the rules of the game midway through the season. So Adam Silver takes the opportunity to say, we're going to have a play-in playoff at the end of the season so that teams know how to adjust and what to get ready for. Because if it isn't competitive, you can't say, oh, by the way, we're gonna cut it. Actually, you guys are terrible and we're gonna have 2 teams. You have to let them know and you hope for the best. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it might not work out, but they're trying something new in this COVID era of basketball. And you know what? You try it one time, it works great. If it doesn't work, well, at least you said you tried to do something to innovate and elevate the basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear where you're coming from, and it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. I think it's a money grab. The NBA this year has been looking at money, and to me, it's nothing more than a way to get more endorsements, to get more broadcasting hours or minutes or ads to make money because there's less fans in games. So to me, this is a money grab type position. It benefits the NBA more than the players. So we will see how this goes.
Before we move on, I just wanted one thing to Faheem's point. The Golden State Warriors have played 33 games to this point of the season, and they're in 8th place. The Memphis Grizzlies have only played 27 games. So that's a 6-game difference right there that it's gonna have to make up through winning percentage. And this is the only way to sort of even the playing field, because you can't necessarily make up those games at the end of the season.
That's fair. I get that aspect.
Okay. Julian, you were mentioning about sometimes that, it may work out or may not. You have to try it. The same thing with Serena's coach. So Serena's very much on, well, let's just try a thing and see how this works. This is a quote from Serena's coach. He says, she came back to win, and she won't retire until she wins the record equaling Grand Slam. So, as we all know, Serena Williams played Naomi Osaka, and she lost. And actually, before we get into that, Nelly J, do you remember we talked about this maybe 2 years ago? We had a discussion. Do you remember? And we was like, do you think Serena will get another Grand Slam?
Well,
You remember?
didn't she win one last? Didn't she win? She won one after that though, Faheem. We spoke like 3 years ago about that. It was 3 years. It wasn't 2 years.
I don't think
Yeah,
she's
it
won
was.
since.
Yeah,
I
yeah, she has. She won one since then, but that was it.
Julian,
I don't know if she won while pregnant. I'm not sure if she won
Right.
a major tournament since she's come back. However, the
Exactly right.
precedent has been set in women's tennis.
Mhm.
You know, Margaret Court, Kim Clijsters, typically, you know, not a big thing where women retire from a sport, have a baby, and then come back. But
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing. That's the only difference between Serena and some of the women who have won in the past who were moms. Serena didn't
Yeah.
retire. Margaret Court took 2 years off, and that's sort of the record that Serena's chasing right now. Kim Clijsters retired at like 23, had a kid, won 3 titles after that. It
Right.
would have been so fitting if Serena had won in Australia, because
Right.
Yeah.
you're tied the Australian Margaret Court. You're playing on Margaret Court over in Australia. I mean, I think they play Rod Laver Arena, but Margaret Court has her own arena there.
Mhm.
And that would have been enough to cement that at 36, 37 years old, as the oldest woman to ever come back after having a kid to win a title, would have cemented the legacy. You don't even need to go for another title at that point. Like, you're finished. She showed only Naomi Osaka was really going to beat her in this tournament. So
I agree. Like, I think if anyone else played her, she would have won. But Osaka, she's just on a she's too good. Like, she's really good. Her length, her size, her height, her accuracy. She's a great tennis player, and she's very smart. So I just think that's her Achilles heel, right? I'm not surprised. Serena is a GOAT. She is those kind of players that are competitive. And just like Tom Brady, like LeBron, you know, they were like, we want to win in our old age. I'm not going to doubt her. Like, I didn't doubt Tom Brady. I didn't doubt LeBron. I'm not going to doubt Serena. I think she's proven to all of us that she has a winning mentality. So let's give her a chance to prove us wrong, if anything. But I think she should go for it. Like until she can't play, why not play? Like you're home, do nothing. It's COVID. Just go out there and play in a tournament. Make some guap. She made money anyway, being third and fourth. So just go and play the sport you love, right? So
Right.
I'm not knocking this at all.
Okay, so I remember what it was. So it was Bianca Andreescu, Rogers Cup,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to meet during that tournament. And that's when it was that we had that conversation about if they'll get another tournament.
Okay,
And
yes.
since then, she hasn't. Her
She
last
hasn't
one,
won, yeah,
she
'cause I
won
think
was
last-
in 2017.
Her last win was 2017, right? Yeah,
It was
the
the
last
Australian
win.
Open 2017.
Yeah.
So since that conversation we had, Rogers Cup, that was what, 2 years ago now.
Mhm.
And remember, there's 4 Grand Slams. So it's Grand Slam after Grand Slam, and she's just every year she's getting older, and these younger girls are getting stronger and in their prime. I'm gonna throw it to the floor. Her coach says that she's gonna keep trying until she gets one.
Hey, why not?
I'm not mad at that. If you look at the way that she has played, so since she had a baby, and you're talking about the Bianca Andreescu tournaments, you know, she retires in one against her, and then actually plays in the full match in the U.S. Open final, loses to Bianca, but she's still getting there. Like, she's still making finals.
Exactly. She's everything.
She's one of the older tennis players, and yet even at her age, with her diminished skills and physicality, is still at the cream of the crop for where the current tennis players are. So
top 10.
her 80% is gonna take 100% of a Naomi Osaka or a Sloane Stephens or any of the top women. I think at some point she's gonna run into some good luck, and she's not gonna have to face a tougher seed, and she might get, like you said, 4 opportunities a year. She probably has maybe 3 years left. That's 12 tournaments to win one. I think you got to go with it.
I'm going against it.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, Faheem. I'm sorry, Faheem. Don't be hating on Serena, bro.
No, it's not hate, but it's the realism of the fact that, keep in mind, Ash Barty, Osaka, like, these are like, there's levels. These guys, like, these 2 ladies have been like number 1, number 2 for, it's like their time. Serena's good enough. Like, right now, she's still in the top 10. Last time I just checked this afternoon, she's like 8. So she's there, but there's levels. And I just don't like it, just showing when she's getting these young girls in their prime. we have to, we just really have to see it for what it is. She just does not. They're not even. They're not competitive, to be honest. They're like
Well,
she. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying, that like you don't think she's gonna win another one, and I get that. But like Julian said, sometimes we've seen in tournaments where the top seed player loses games. Like, it happens a lot in tournaments, and we've seen it happen before. We've seen Novak lose, we've seen Federer lose, we've seen Nadal lose. Like, these are top players that have lost to other people that aren't as good as them on like a regular day. So what we're saying is that, yes, they're top of the game, but things have happened, and we've seen luck happen before. So especially in tennis, I really believe every tournament is very different, and I've seen top players go down in like early rounds before too. So I think there's a chance. I can't say it will never happen, because there's a chance that she could make it, and it takes only one or two good ins and outs to get there. So we'll see. We will see.
She's made 5 finals since having a kid.
That's
major
amazing.
Tournaments.
That's crazy.
Amazing. And so she said that's within the last 3 years, right?
Yeah, since 2018, she has made
last 2 years, so 3 years. Okay.
Yeah,
and she's 5 finals. And what's her record in the finals, though?
She hasn't won one.
0-5.
But she's made 5 finals against 5 different opponents, or 4 different opponents. And so when you look at what's going to happen, and you're talking about the top ranked players, they don't always make it, especially in women's tennis. Women's tennis is one of the most unpredictable sports between men and women.
Right.
And so this is eventually she's going to run into a W. That's just the way it is. She's going to be there. It's going to happen. You can mark it here now.
She's
whatever day we're recording.
All right, yeah. No,
We're gonna claim it for
I'll
her.
make a mental
Claim
note.
it.
I'll make a
clip it.
This is how I like, and you're right. Like, say for instance, Ash Barty or Osaka, or one of the top ones get out, and she gets maybe not one of the, and sometimes you have those Cinderella situations where like a 40 seed ends up being, these things happen. I don't see her ever beating Naomi Osaka. I won't ever see her beating Ash Barty. There's like, and that's what I'm saying in regards to, so she, like, you're right. The perfect storm has to be where she has, that's the point I want to double down on. Those two, like, that's not it. I'm sorry. She's not beating those girls.
That's fair. That's a fair comment to make, but I'm saying, though, if in a Grand Slam she plays and they don't make it, then she won't have to beat them. So our point is still that she could still win one. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because Osaka hasn't made every Grand Slam final in the last 2 years. Exactly. So my thing is that it doesn't have to be them for her to win. Is the fact that she can still win one. And at least I think, but listen, now with medicine, my brother, Dr. B, talked about how much medicine has advanced for athletes. He said that nowadays, guys, athletes can recover and do things before they can't before, because medicine has gotten way better. Like PT rehab is a lot better than it was back in, Steffi Graf days. So we can see Serena playing for a long time, only because of medicine, health, and what's been going on in the world. So I think she has at least 2-3 years left. And if that's the case, I think she'll get a W. I believe so.
She's 2-2 against Osaka, and she's actually won, or 2-3 now. Won the 2 most recent matches up until the finals. So,
oh, look at that.
Faheem? No, it's one.
Yo, Julian has all the data, guy. I love me some Julian. Yes,
that's why we love Julian.
Oh man, let's head to For the Culture, y'all. Would like to highlight individuals that are doing amazing things for the culture. And today, I want to talk about Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan recently made a huge donation to his foundation. They're opening up 2 medical clinics in his hometown, Wilmington, North Carolina, where he grew up. And of course, he attended North Carolina, you there. So what's really cool is that he really wants to give back to his community. And the reason why he did is because he felt that a lot of people back home aren't getting equal healthcare attention like others in, I guess, the more affluent areas. So what he's done right now, it'll be 2 clinics opening up in 2022. And he actually created or opened up 2 clinics before that in 2017 in Charlotte. So this program he's doing is not the first, and he'll be doing more of this as well. So what's your thoughts, guys, on Michael Jordan's philanthropy this past couple years? I would say for Ortiz, you go first, bro.
This is what everyone sort of has been waiting for. You know, Michael Jordan as a player decided not to do anything really outside of basketball and baseball. He didn't get involved in politics. He didn't get involved in anything else. He was laser focused. He was all about his game. And now he has an opportunity as an NBA owner to make a difference. And this is what a lot of people have been asking and looking for. When it comes to, you know, the major sports, you look at the minority owners and they're few and far between. Mm-hmm. So when you have someone like Michael Jordan, who's already donated to the city of Charlotte, who's now going to help his hometown and help the underserved and underprivileged with either no or very, you know, low insurance, it is going to make a huge difference. And again, Michael Jordan continuing to take W's, not in basketball, but when it comes to helping his society and his community, I don't think you can say anything bad about him right now.
No, you can't. Faheem, your thoughts, bro?
Well, I think it's amazing that he's doing this. So one thing we can say about Jordan is, as you mentioned, Julian, he, as a player, well documented, didn't seem to be very philanthropic, right? But opening 2 medical clinics in North Carolina, like in a pandemic. So it's one thing to do something, but another thing to do something that has meaning, purpose, and just it's right. The timing couldn't be better for this, to open these medical clinics, and you know, it's better late than never. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be on Jordan saying, you know, you have this this influence. Why doesn't he, you know, do more, right? But bit by bit, especially I can say since COVID, like the NASCAR, he got involved with NASCAR, bought NASCAR. Bubba Johnson, was it?
Yeah, Bubba
Wallace.
Bubba Wallace, my bad. Bubba Wallace.
You're being mean for him.
I do not follow NASCAR straight. But yeah, Bubba Wallace. Yeah. So, but he's involved with NASCAR, and with that, they're also doing something for the community. Also, you know, this is the Michael Jordan that, you know, it's better late than never. That's all I can say. So him having a medical clinic in a pandemic, you know, kudos to Michael Jordan.
You know what? I want to give you guys an actual little factoid, because this is something that I didn't know, and I'm wondering if you guys knew about this at all. So in 9/11, that was a very dark day in America. I remember I was going to class, university, Western London, Ontario, and I saw what happened, and I was like, "What's going on in New York?" Like, it was crazy because I found me there. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Michael Jordan donated his entire NBA salary to the 9/11 families. So he's not new to this.
Wait, hold up. Wheel that back.
He donated his entire NBA salary in 01 to 02 to the 9/11 families and foundation. His entire salary. Now, not only that, I actually did some digging. And folks, Jordan has been doing a lot of things, but it hasn't been announced because it's under his foundation. And I guess back in the day, they were really highlighting, you know, Black philanthropy. I don't know if it was I don't know what it was, but he wasn't highlighted. But if you look up what he's done since taking up ownership of an NBA team and what he's been doing within Charlotte, I know people think, oh, it's COVID. Like, no, guys, he's been doing this stuff. And he started it from 9/11, even before that, but it was quiet because Jordan didn't want to bring attention because he felt that people will take it out of context what he was doing. So he's been doing these things, but only now he's getting his flowers. So I want y'all to take some time to look it up, but he's not new to these foundations, these clinics. He's been working really hard, giving back, but it just didn't make the news. and now it is. So I want to give it up for Michael Jordan, put some respect on his name. He's been giving back, and I think we need to give him his flowers, not only during COVID, but before COVID, before that.
Yeah, he's been a Make-A-Wish Foundation ambassador since like '08. And the interesting part about the donation during that season is that's when he's playing for Washington, obviously.
Yes.
He actually makes his debut on October 31st. NBA season started in New York. So you now have him decreeing before the season begins that he's going to donate his entire salary for that year to the charities for the 9/11 victims. And he ends up starting his season and being honored at MSG in the opening night of that season. It's pretty cool. He's definitely using his influence, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's shoes, whether it's his pull. I mean, he was one of the owners that really hit with Adam Silver to try to open up some of the NBA arenas for voting during the last election. He's been a voice of the players as well, really trying to help the NBA, PA, and the owners get together when they're collective agreements and agreeing on things. So MJ influence in the game after he's retired as an owner, he's fantastic.
Yeah, like real talk.
No doubt. So shout out to Michael Jordan opening the 2 medical clinics in North Carolina. That's a great look.
And I'll be 4 now. You have 4 clinics that he opened up in his own home state. So that's huge.
Let's put some respect on his name.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd. So first of all, I'm going to say what I feel is absurd. And then I just want to kind of double back in regards to why. So Doug Smith, first of all, Doug Smith, well-respected columnist for the Toronto Star, and also someone who's very close, an insider for the Toronto Raptors organization.
Yep. He is certified too. He has a check mark beside his name, so he's pretty important.
Right. Very well respected. So this is not a shot at Doug Smith at all, because actually I have the utmost respect for Doug Smith, actually. But that's absurd segment. And in this segment, I feel we have to address this. He tweeted, and mind you, his tweets are they're good. Like, he's good money. But this is what he tweeted when Philadelphia played the Raptors and Dwight Howard got a little physical. Quote, "I'll just say it. Dwight Howard's more a thug than a basketball player right now." End quote. Absurd, my friend. Absurd.
Very absurd. And I mean, I will jump in real quick here. It just sucks because if you watch hockey, and Julian, you watch hockey, Faheem watch hockey as well, the most aggression happens during hockey. And I've never seen anyone tweet about a hockey player being a thug, a white huck. And we've seen fights, we've seen blood, people lost teeth before in hockey. And I've never ever heard any broadcaster or critique call a hockey player a thug.
But we have heard the term goon, though.
Yeah, goon, yes. But remember, thug is a social racial term because
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just throwing it out.
I get goon, but I'm saying, but goon is no criminal behind goon. Whereas a thug, there's a lot of criminal, implications behind the term thug, right? And the issue, as we know, who is it? Was it in the Knicks? Faheem or Julian, but someone called LeBron. Remember when LeBron had his own
It was
company?
Phil Jackson, wasn't it? It was Phil Jackson.
He called them thugs, right? And now we have another guy calling athlete just being competitive, just doing what he's doing, competitive, and getting into the game. And guys, most players get competitive. Like, I play basketball. I've been very angry person in ball too, but he's being competitive, right? So for you to call someone being competitive a thug is just wrong, period. Julian?
I spoke with Faheem yesterday. We've been having these like long conversations. My wife is like, "Who are you talking to on the phone for so long, so late at night?" And I'm like, "It's my guy Faheem." And I brought it up before he did. And Nelly, you talked about it. Let's call it like it is. A spade is a spade. He used a term as a white reporter for a black athlete and called him a thug. Whether he chose that word meaning a racial connotation or not does not matter. You say Doug Smith is well respected. He is a writer for the Toronto Star. He has seen and probably written about the Phil Jackson comments. He's definitely heard and seen the Bob McNair comments or the Houston Texans when he called his players inmates not too long ago. He walked that back, said he was talking about the executives, but it doesn't matter. If you are a columnist, if you are a writer, then it is on you to understand the power of words.
Agreed.
The thing that I found most disappointing is he tweeted it out. And his apology, which wasn't in a tweet, he tweeted the link to his Toronto Star article. And so now we're trying to get traffic on the Toronto Star website to see an apology over something that I said on Twitter. To me, it smelled bad. It looked bad. People are calling for his job, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I just don't think that it was the right choice of words. You can't ignore the fact that he referred to an African-American basketball player and called him a thug. He could have used any other words. He has a thesaurus and a dictionary. He's smart enough to understand the power of words. I think it's a cop-out for him to say, oh, I should have chosen my words properly, this, that, and the other. I don't give him a pass like you maybe do, Faheem. I think it was a poor choice of words. It's an ugly, ugly look, especially for the Toronto Raptors, who just dealt with their presidents getting into an altercation with a sheriff deputy in Golden State. You can't tell me he's not sensitive to the stuff that goes on in Toronto and he thinks that was okay. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I can't even follow that. You're right. Like, my only thing is, so maybe I am taking a little bit of not so much what he said, but the person. If I put it this way, if there's some random columnist in like Minnesota and he said that, perhaps I wouldn't probably feel the same way. But this is Doug Smith, someone I've been reading for like 20 years. And you're right. Maybe I am giving him a bit of a pass. I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. Actually, I agree with what you say. But I'm just going to wait to see his apology. And if he does give an apology, I would accept it.
So I'm different from you, Faheem, because I think a lot of people are good at hiding how they truly feel. And just because you read his articles that have been edited by editors and veered through, doesn't mean like the man behind the article is a good person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could write things all I want, but it doesn't mean that no, real talk though, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen presidents, during the insurrection, let's talk about that. There are people in insurrection that were CEOs, directors of companies that were fired because they were saying racial things and trying to insurrect an entire government election. You know what I'm saying? And those guys were all respected. My thing is that I will never speak or defend nobody because no one defends me. You know what I'm saying? So Doug, yes, he's done great things. I'm not denying what he's done for Toronto and for sports and so forth. But he said what he said. You know what I'm saying? And he believed, and when he said it in that tweet, it wasn't like he meant what he said. And I feel like, as Julian said, he's educated enough to understand what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't new to this game. He's been in this game, right? So the fact that someone with that knowledge, with that type of level of respect in the sports world that works with Black athletes and people in the industry, and he still tweeted that out, wow. I'm sorry. Again, I'm not saying don't forgive him. I'm saying is that he knew better, but he still did it. So that is my problem.
I'm not going to make any excuses for Doug Smith. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So he said, I'll just say it. Dwight Howard is more of a thug than a basketball player right now. If you watch the game, Dwight Howard
Come on,
Dwight Howard was very physical, right?
Yeah, but that's every game. Every game is very physical.
I guess so. He was speaking to the fact that Dwight Howard was not really, see how we spoke about earlier in regards to skills with Giannis and Pascal. Dwight wasn't showing very much basketball skill. He was acting like he was Bob Probert. He was acting like a goon on the basketball court.
But
If he didn't say the word thug, would like say he chose a more eloquent word, like said, you know what, Dwight Howard is more of a goon, or he's more
it's
of
not even that, but with
a
a goon, you're just
bruiser.
saying
Go
it's
ahead.
not even that for him. I think the problem is that, especially now when social and racial tensions are high,
Mhm.
Doug is not, again, he knows better. Like, it's not even about what he says. The fact that during this time as a white man, watch what the hell you say about black people, period. You know what I'm saying? And Doug thought he was immune to that shit. He's like, oh, well, I'm Doug. Everyone likes me, so I'm going to do this. And I think he forgot who the hell he was. That's what it was. I think he kind of slipped up in judgment at that moment and forgot who the hell he was and his lane. That's all it was. But all I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if any white man is tweeting about a black man, about aggression, hey, if I'm you, make sure you ask your black friend if it's okay before you tweet it out. That's what I'm trying to say, because right now is not the time to tweet things out. And like, if I'm a white dude calling someone thug at this point, that's professional NBA. Remember, he's making $1 million playing basketball at the highest level in the highest like division in the world. He's a basketball player, Doug. He's not a thug. Like, stop this. Like, stop it. You can't. I'm sorry. I can't. It's absurd. His tweet was absurd. His apology, to me, I'm not Dwight, but it's absurdity on all counts for him. On all counts.
I'm trying to see if there's any final drops left of the Kool-Aid that Faheem is drinking from Doug Smith right now. Because
Honestly,
listen, as a writer of a column that you say you have been reading, it doesn't take a person who can't Google and go to dictionary.com to understand that the word thug is a term for violent, lawless person, especially a man. And just 2 paragraphs underneath that says, in the US, the word thug has a history of being used by racist white people who specifically apply it to African American men to portray them as violent criminals. When used in this way, it is often thought to function as a substitute for a racial slur. He is educated, been around long enough to understand all of the things that have happened in the US and in Canada with protests and things being brought to light, that you can't be so quick to just try to get a tweet out and jeopardize your integrity just for the sake of getting likes or trying to get a comment out. You have to be more thorough and vet what you are trying to say, because it is more important to be correct than it is to be first. And that is a quote from Adam Lefkoe and Ian Rappaport. It is more important to be right than it is to be first. And Doug Smith was wrong.
That part, Doug, I tried. That's absurd, Doug. That's absurd.
it's absurd. So that's absurd.
That's absurd. All right, it's absurd. Let's throw this episode in the books.
Episode 28.
Episode
y'all.
28.
Man,
So-
time flies by.
I know, man. Listen, Julian, you know we can talk for like a 3-hour podcast, us three, like real talk. So, Julian, you know, we're so happy you jumped on the podcast. We're honored to have you on. You're like family. But as you know, our routine for our guests is to give a shout out. So the floor is yours, Julian.
Listen, I want to shout out. I think I did this the first time. I'm going to do it again. Shout out to the Good Rookies podcast for continuing to put out that primo content. You guys have been absolutely killing it. Your guests have been great. You're having great conversations, and the people are starting to notice. I want to just, take a quick second to say shout out to all of the healthcare workers that are continuing to grind right now during the pandemic. We're going through a second wave globally, and it's getting tough out there, and it's getting hard. And if you really look at it, they haven't really been provided a break, a use of vacation, or anything. They've been grinding for over 12 months straight now and continuing to try to help and make sure that all of us people in the population and the community are doing well and staying safe. So shout out to the healthcare workers across the globe for risking their lives and continuing to do the good work of keeping everybody safe. And people, let's just be smart. We'll get through this soon enough, but let's make good decisions and keep listening to the Good Rookies podcast while you pass the time of your day.
Oh my God, Julian, thank you so much, man. I want to shout you out for coming on. I'm a huge fan. You're dope. I love your comments. You're always like giving us real raw factoids, which I like, right? So appreciate you so much. And I actually want to take some time to shout out. A year ago, we lost someone special, Ahmaud Arbery. He died a year ago when he was chased down by these white goons. I'll say that, white goons, and was murdered cold-blooded because he was jogging. So I want to give a moment of time to shout out his family, his friends. I think a year ago is when things really started heating up with Breonna Taylor, and a year ago, I remember a year ago it wasn't a good day for us. So just want to shout out everyone fighting for racial justice in Canada and America and the world. And we understand that we have a long fight ahead of us, but all we can do is do our part to either donate and protest. But just want to have my thoughts and prayers out to the Ahmaud Arbery family. So, Faheem?
Yeah, I want to quickly shout out the end of an era. I want to shout out to the end of Tim and Sid. Tim McAuliffe and Sid Sixero. You talked about Doug and how long we go back. Tim and Sid, same thing. Like I'm talking 20 years. Sid is now going on to greener pastures, going over to breakfast television. This may be local if anyone's not familiar. Two Canadian sports. What do we call them? Sports
Icons.
Personalities,
personality icons,
everything.
hosts.
Personality, host,
if you're
icon,
not
everything.
familiar, if maybe not in Canada and you're elsewhere, Google them. Tim and Sid, funny, and just professional. So this week there's just the end of Tim and Sid. So I just want to shout them out. And that's episode in the books.
28, y'all. So
28.
please share, like, comment, and yeah, check us out. We're everywhere.
Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Julian, once again, it's always a pleasure. Oh, with the belt, of course.
Championship guest.
Championship guest.
We out.
I love it.
All right, we out. Peace.
Peace.